The public humiliation continues for Kaitlan Collins. Katie Roo! Katie Roo! I see you, Katie. Uncle KC could never forget about his boo, Roo. I know your pretend friends in the mainstream media are 100% focused on the security leak. I know your pretend friends are giving the spotlight to Captain Doofus, Jeff Goldblum, or Jeff Goldberg, Billy Goldberg. Who cares? It doesn't matter what his name is. By this time next week, John will be back to writing articles in The Atlantic that no one is reading. Which, by the way, fun fact, the charity wing of The Atlantic, they are responsible for donating woke welfare to Jamel Hill. This right here, this is the face Smelly Jamelli makes when she receives her bi-weekly donation. Either that or Jamelli got a nice smelly of the boodle breeze, which caused this ravishing O-face. But anyway, I know the Roo is feeling overshadowed. I know she feels a bit neglected. I know she feels like the dump divers in the WNBA who embarrass themselves on a nightly basis and no one notices. But don't you worry, Roo. Uncle KC noticed. Uncle KC is paying attention to the humiliation of his boo, Roo. For starters, and as predicted right here on the channel, Kaitlan Collins is now being beaten in the ratings by Scott Jennings. What, KC, don't you mean Abby Phillip? No, I mean Scott Jennings. Phillip does a great job hosting the show, but Scott Jennings is the real star. For weeks now, Scott Jennings has been dominating Roo in the Key 25-54 demo. But last week, Scotty finally topped her in overall ratings. CNN Newsnight averaged 549,000 viewers last week, while the girl named Roo averaged 532,000. I cannot stress to you enough how unfathomable this is. This would be like Larry O'Connell outdrawing Rachel Maddow at MSNBC. It would be like the WNBA outperforming reruns of Bob the Sponge on Nickelodeon. Kaitlan Collins is the lead-in. Her show, The Source of Embarrassing Failure, it is supposed to hand Abby Phillip an audience, and it's Scott Jennings' job to maintain it. In most cases, especially at the 10 p.m. hour in cable news, ratings for the show in that time slot decline from their lead-in. But fortunately for CNN, the American hero Scott Jennings, I am a real American. The American hero is an overachiever. Matter of fact, Scott Jennings is a magician. He's taking the nothing that the Roo is giving him, and he is magically turning it into almost nothing. I'm telling you right now, do not be surprised if Roo is demoted in the primetime lineup. CNN has stumbled upon something that works with Scott Jennings. He is the only star at the network, and the American hero, he's got the potential to be a superstar in cable news. Obviously, the Roo doesn't have that same potential. I wouldn't be surprised if Kaitlan Collins was moved out of the primetime lineup at CNN altogether, but that's a topic for another video. Yesterday, Roo was included in the group of media at a press conference for the Trumper. Initially, I was confused because I thought the Trumper had an active restraining order on Roo. I thought she wasn't allowed to be within 500 miles of the Orange Man, but somehow Kaitlan Collins took advantage of her anonymous status and she snuck into this press conference. It is no secret that the relationship between Roo and Donnie is rather contentious. Like the rest of America, Donnie doesn't like Katie Roo. He made this abundantly clear again yesterday as Donald Trump once again publicly humiliated Kaitlan Collins. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the second channel is in the description below. This morning on the second channel, talked about ESPN polishing the turd with women's college basketball. The thing is, There was no reason for ESPN to put elbow grease on the turd because the women are actually performing quite well. But like most in the mainstream media, ESPN is allergic to telling the truth. So Uncle Casey gave you the truth on how these young ladies are performing. We also questioned whether or not the star power they build in college will translate to the WNBA. So if you haven't already, head over to the second channel and subscribe. Yesterday, the Trumper held an ambassador meeting to discuss the signal leak. After the meeting, he wasted his time meeting with the vultures in the mainstream media. The Trumper was answering the usual questions from the media. Orange Man, why was your administration using the Signal app to discuss classified information? Well, they thought the app was secure, but they should have been using Truth Social. My app is safer than a woman inside a club Shay Shay. It won't be touched. After the Trumper finished answering a few questions, Kaitlan Collins decided to interject. Even though she did not possess the talking pillow, Kaitlan Collins took it upon herself to decide that it was her turn to talk. But just like her dwindling audience at CNN, no one wanted to listen. The Roo was talking over some other dude who didn't want to be accused of mythical misogyny by talking over her, so he allowed her to continue. Or maybe he allowed her to continue because he knew what was about to happen. The Roo commands the attention of the room and proceeds to ask one of her doofus questions. Even though security failed to recognize her, the Trumper did. As soon as the Trumper matched the anonymous voice with the anonymous face, he immediately shut Kaitlan Collins down. Watch for yourself.
Mr. President, you said that your national security advisor learned a lesson after a reporter...
Wait a minute, excuse me, I didn't pick you. Go ahead, please.
How embarrassing. Kaitlan Collins must be a glutton for humiliation because this is not the first time this has happened. Hell, this is becoming a trend. It's a pattern. Someone from the Trump administration identifies Kaitlan Collins and they proceed to embarrass her. They won't take her questions. They barely acknowledge her existence. The Roo would be better off spending her time in acting classes. That way, she could at least pretend to be a successful host in primetime cable news. Unfortunately for CNN, that was not their only embarrassing moment this week. This next moment, it's kind of bittersweet. It was both heartwarming and embarrassing at the same time. The good news is, CNN has solved another missing persons case. Do you guys remember Tiffany Cross, better known by her alias Tiffer the Bongo Sniffer? You guys remember her? She used to host a show on weekends at MSNBC, but once the business of mythical racism crashed, Tiffany Cross was unemployed. She was fired by MSNBC in the fall of 2022, and Tiffany Cross hasn't been seen since. Well, Casey, that's not true. She hosts the Native Land Pod with Angela Rye, the science guy. Their podcast is amazing. Like I said, Tiffany Cross hasn't been seen since 2022. Her YouTube channel is a colossal failure, averaging around 600,000 views a month. Family and friends have been very worried. They haven't seen Tiff in almost 3 years. But Monday night, she finally resurfaced. I guess CNN had an influx of woke welfare in the budget, so they decided to donate a few pesos to Tiffany Cross. She was invited to appear on the panel with Abby Phillip and the great American hero Scott Jennings. The topic of discussion was the security leak, but that wasn't what drew my attention. For some reason, Tiffany Cross decided to use her first mainstream appearance in almost 3 years to denigrate America. She decided to use her first and hopefully last mainstream appearance to disrespect the country that gave her the opportunity to make a living by creating racism. Now, in fairness to Tiffany Cross, She is not nearly as vile or wicked as Jasmine Crockett, but she's damn sure as disrespectful. She's disrespectful to every man, every woman in the military who sacrificed their lives to keep this country great, who sacrificed their lives to give Tiffany Cross the opportunity to disrespect them without consequence. Watch for yourself.
They ran on this whole idea of this pseudo-patriotism, this regressive masculine patriotism, yet everything they're doing runs against making America great. Well, it was never great, so I'm not going to say the again part, but making America great. You're trying to defend the indefensible. Yeah, I absolutely feel that way. I absolutely feel that way. And I think if you had the history that my people had in this country, that you might have a modicum of understanding and respect for that. America was never great for me.
I think when we talk later about why the Democratic Party is so unpopular,
it's that America... represent the Democrats. I'm here representing me, and I think it is a common understanding that America may have been great for you. It was not great for me. So instead of attacking Jeffrey Goldberg, what they could do is act like men and own this mistake, since they ran on this regressive masculinity campaign. Act like men and say, you know what, we failed.
Why are deacons at Woke United Methodist so obsessed with toxic masculinity? Why are they so obsessed with diminishing masculinity? Let me ask you something. God forbid an intruder broke into her house and Tiffany Cross was given the option of calling the masculine police or calling social worker Shanice. Who do you think she is calling to protect her? When her toilet is clogged from the abundance of polished turds that she continues to flush, who do you think is showing up to fix it? Woke women are all about diminishing masculinity until they need it. I guarantee you, if Tiffany Cross is married, she is married to a masculine dude. Why? Because women are attracted to masculinity, the same masculinity that Tiffany Cross pretends to complain about. If America isn't great and has never been great, why is Tiffany Cross living here? If America is so oppressive, why is she living here? When people are living under oppression, don't they try to escape? Isn't that one of the reasons that this country was founded? Because the founders were escaping religious oppression over in England? If Tiffany Cross is tired of the masculinity and oppression in America, why doesn't she just leave? The reason she doesn't leave is because it's all an act. Tiffany Cross is still trying to make her living in the business of mythical racism and mythical misogyny. She's trying to revive a business that is bankrupt. I don't waste my time watching her on YouTube, but if I had to guess, racism is the primary topic, and she wonders why her YouTube channel is a huge embarrassing failure. Give me your thoughts on this. Kaitlan Collins humiliated again by the Trumper. Tiffany Cross disrespects the country, and I believe she disrespected the military by claiming that America has never been great. The country that the entire world relies on. The country that people travel thousands of miles to enter illegally or legally. The country that has created more millionaires and billionaires than any other country in the world, probably combined. The country that gives you the freedom to make a living peddling fake racism. According to Tiffany Cross, that country sucks. Sound off in the comments below. Best way to contact me is through email, btlkc84@gmail.com. I'll see you guys later.